Welcome to our Smart Technologies ANZ webinar series. As always, please feel free to place your questions down in the chat or questions tab, and we'll go through them and answer them all at the end. Thank you for spending your Wednesday afternoon with us. We're really looking forward to this webinar series today. Today we have three incredibly innovative teachers from Sheldon College in Queensland who are going to share their journeys with Smart and how it's affected the teaching and learning occurring in their classrooms. But before we do get to these amazing educators, I'd like to first introduce you to Mrs. Vanessa Noonan, the Head of Digital Pedagogy and Innovation at Sheldon College. For me, out in the field, I think it's really important for everyone to get a big picture overview of the implementation and adoption of Smart into schools and how different schools are doing this successfully. And this is a question that we get asked often. So, Vanessa, I was wondering, could you talk us through your whole college approach to professional learning for your teachers and the implementation and adoption of Smart into your holistic class approach?
Yeah, sure. Excellent. And good afternoon, everyone. As Beck mentioned, the teachers that will be presenting this afternoon, Beck will introduce you to them later, but I'm just going to kick off by talking about our overall strategy for digital pedagogy and innovation here at the college. You'll see some really good examples of how teachers are carefully selecting different tools and resources to implement in their classroom. But what's at the backbone of our professional learning and professional development here at the college is our student exit outcomes. So everything that we do or we endeavour to implement, we stop and we reflect on how well they align to our student exit outcomes, which is, as you can see on the screen, we talk about self-directed learners, creative thinkers, innovators, providing opportunities for our students to become effective communicators, information and media literate, skilled and core literacy, and possesses high self-esteem. So that's just an overview of what is our benchmark for implementing technologies at the college, and we believe Smart Technologies does address all of these elements of our student exit outcomes if used effectively. In terms of our professional learning, we are very committed to transforming learning here at the college, and we do that by implementing engaging STEAM projects. We have a very, very solid teacher professional development program which enables us to build our teacher capacity. We have authentic learning context, so all of our projects and implementation of our learning stem from an inquiry-based model and also our creativity framework. And we have the spaces to transform our learning physically with a variety of facilities that we have here at the college. But more specifically, in regards to technologies here at the college in our digital pedagogy plan, our teachers can pick one or more realms. So our 2018 digital pedagogy plan focused on 1, progressive assessment, 2, building teacher capacity, no matter what tool you wanted to look into. And our third one this year was introducing mixed reality and robotics. So as you can see, we don't have a one model fits all approach. Our teachers can pick which is their focus, and then they can weave in between the different realms as well. As based on those three elements, we are focused on building our micro-credentials. So as you can see on the screen, we have a number of teachers who are delving into different technologies and upskilling themselves in their own time around Microsoft, Apple, Smart, Seesaw, Schoolbox, just to name a few. And part of this micro-credentialing has enabled us to target over 68% of our staff, which then empowers them to make the relevant decisions in their classroom when integrating technology. We were fortunate this year to work very closely with Smart. Our college has been acknowledged as a Smart exemplary school, and as part of that, we are now have full utilisation of Smart boards from early learning all the way through to Year 4. And because we are very keen to make sure these tools are used properly, these devices are aligned with professional development, that is, as you've seen in the previous slide, but also aligned with Smart's professional development as well. Just to wrap up from me before I hand over to the teachers, another framework that we often use, Beck, is our SAMA model. And every time a group of teachers come together collectively to rewrite or revamp a unit of work, we really want to make sure that we apply Dr. Rubin's model in terms of that we are hitting the modification and redefinition phase. We really don't want to be using smart tools or apps or Microsoft product, whatever the products may be, at a substitution level, because that's a very, very expensive way to transform learning. We want to be redefining curriculum and redefining learning possibilities. And we often say here at the college, if you were to take away the device, the smartboard, the iPad, whatever it may be, if you can't achieve the same result, then we know that we've hit that redefinition phase. And often, probably 80% of our time, our teachers are in that modification and redefinition phase, because traditional teaching and learning is still very solid in our curriculum, and we are proud about that as well. So Beck, I'm going to hand over now back to you.
Thanks so much, Vanessa. That's fantastic. And it's great to see that the teachers are being involved in the decisions that are being made in terms of the digital technology that's being used in the school. It's so essential for a teacher adoption and the success of the digital technologies strategy. So that's fantastic to see. And obviously it's working really well. I'd like you to introduce you to the three teachers we're chatting with today. This is the dynamic Year 2 team at Sheldon College. We have Anita Fitzpatrick, Kate Todd, and Julianne Herold. Good morning, afternoon, ladies.
Hi.
Hi. Now, I'd love to introduce you individually and get you to share your stories and some of your classroom practices individually. So we might throw straight to Anita. Anita, are you able to take us through your professional learning around the use of smart technologies and what you found most impactful or effective for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, starting in Year 2 last year, we got our boards installed not long later, which was really cool after using different boards. This one was probably the easiest to learn how to use, and it had more options. And then this year we had Smart come out and do the Smart Certified Trainer program with myself and another Year 2 teacher, which was fantastic because now we can train others to use the technologies effectively. Not only has that been great for the staff that we work with, so we can teach them how to effectively use it, I feel like for my own practice, my students are benefiting a lot because as I teach, I learn a lot more about how to use the programs and the software and the board more effectively for the children in our lessons. Things that I find most impacting in an everyday classroom situation is that using Smartboard is really easy to adapt to what the children need. So I might have a plan for the day. I think this is the way it's going to go. And next thing you know, they need more time. So we'll spend more time. I'll add a slide in. I'll add an activity in. We'll do a shout it out. And it gives them more time to grasp the concept. Sometimes what I've planned isn't enough. So I can easily extend them as well or branch off into small group activities based on something on the board that I can say, well, this group is going to stay with me on the board. This group needs to go over and practice using, playing cards for doing doubles, for example, that sort of thing. So it's really flexible, I found, and it's very engaging for the students as well. So the second the board comes on and I say, grab an iPad, log into hellosmart.com, they're like, yes, can't wait. And they work in groups, they work by themselves. So it's very flexible.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's really exciting in your classroom. Do you mind sharing some of the activities that you've done in your class?
Yes. So this year, one of my main tasks has been to prepare the math flows for each lesson, or that just sort of pop up as we go. So this is one that the students have done multiple times throughout the year, which is the best thing about Smart. The slides can be easily copied and pasted into another day's worth of work, and they can start to, it's that repetition that they often need as well. Or this, I can take and change it from addition number problems to spelling words, so which is the correct spelling, and they can slide it into the correct box. They don't take long to make, but they're very fun. The kids love doing them. I also use this on the Smart Learning Suite online, so often it's on the board and I might get two friends to come up and have a go, but I can also pop it into Smart Learning Suite online for the children to come back to whenever they need to, which is great. This one, they love, these are really fun interactive games. They're really easy to make. All you do is click on the little rubber, which I've already linked to the eraser tool, and then they can come up and work out if the number on the screen matches the clues on the side. This is so fun because what I love as a teacher is watching them create this on their whiteboards, and then they've got their little friends sitting there and they've got to come and they've covered up the answer that they've put on the floor, and they've got the clues on their whiteboard. So they take the learning from the board and apply it to their own games. This game, I love Shout It Out. Shout It Out, I feel like it's one of my most popular choices for a quick game on the fly. So this one they've been learning about groups of. So after we've done some activities together, which I think are coming up as well in the next couple of slides, these are some examples of what the children had done. So they'd worked in pairs or by themselves and run off and made groups of 2. And if they'd made an error, we could have a look at it together and go, well, actually, this person needs to slide their answer into groups of 5 because they popped it into the wrong box or it doesn't quite match. So they're able to give each other immediate feedback. And it's not that whole, okay, great, you've done your work, pop it on the table for me to mark. We can get straight into the marking of it or straight into correcting to make sure we can clarify understanding.
Excellent. And obviously getting that continuous feedback from you, they're able to improve their results and their student outcomes with that activity as well. So learning as they go and improving.
And it's so much quicker for me as a teacher to say, well, this is the task that I want them to achieve. This is what they know now, and I can modify as soon as I need to. It doesn't mean I need to wait for the next day to do the next lesson, because I might be ready to do it that day once I know exactly what they know. And this one is the apples. That's okay. This was a, let's do it on the board first, and you're going to go and make it by yourself. You can draw a picture, you can build it with things in the classroom. It's not the children sitting staring at the board all day long. It's the stimulus for them to go and do and make and be as well. Sometimes it's them being the apples and putting themselves into baskets. So
yeah, so brilliant. So you're using it as a demo tool and then empowering them to go and build their own.
Yeah, definitely. I find it really works for all the different learners as well. So it's all these different learning styles. Some children really need that visual, that tactile, and being able to use the smart board. The children who they can interact using iPads as well. We do a lot of app smashing too. So a lot of the stuff we do, especially in Smart Learning Suite Online, we'll screenshot, we'll pop it into a pic collage, which they're really confident with using now, and then they pop that into Seesaw, which we can share with their parents, which I think is a really nice link for that home school connection. The parents can see what they're up to, the parents comment on it, and the children can almost see that immediately as well.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that you use those for assessments as well with your screenshotting and popping into Seesaw. So it's really taking away that paper-based activity. So you're able to get real feedback from their assessments in real time, in real life activities, which is amazing.
It makes it easy for us to share.
Sorry, Anita?
Sorry, I was just saying it's easy for us as colleagues to quickly share, hey, I've just done this activity, here's a screenshot, do you want to have a turn? I'll pop it onto the share drive for you to do, or this is my children's examples today, and we can share that across the team.
Amazing, and that's amazing segue into the next question I was going to ask you. How has smart technology, the board and the software, how has that changed you as a teacher or the way that you teach?
I think it's made me a bit more flexible in my own thinking, because it just makes it easier to adapt to the everyday needs of the children. Whereas in the past, I think I was a bit more stuck on what I'd already had for the day, and if I had this sheet printed off or this activity made up, I didn't feel like I could move away too far from it. Whereas now, it's so easy to change the plan to suit the students. I feel like I know the students better.
Yeah.
And being confident with all the different technologies, being like a smart educator, knowing how to use the iPads effectively by being an Apple teacher now as well. I feel like there's more options for me as a teacher and for them as learners as well, which I think is really important.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's amazing. Thanks so much, Anita. That was incredible. I'd love to jump over to Kate, because Kate has a very different journey to you, Anita, being that you're a Smart Certified Trainer. Kate, I'd love you to share your journey and how you've been using Smart in the classroom.
Yeah, thanks, Beth. So I'm a second year teacher. I recently graduated, and I've actually started the year in year 6. And then moved halfway through the year into grade 2, which was a pretty crazy and dramatic change. Having Smartboard already implemented across our year level was just an incredible help. My colleagues are absolutely fantastic with using it and implementing it. One of the things that I can love about it is you can set up workflows of entire units of work and have it there ready to go and on the side tab, there's an option where you can put teacher notes. So basically, you can put your WALTs and your WILFs, your learning objectives, any little notes that a teacher would need, and they can basically open up the Smart notebook and they can go ahead and do their lesson. For me as well, obviously, I went through uni when there was a lot of emphasis around using technology, and I am a technology native. I love it, so it's something that I have really been able to access. It's something that is interactive, and I can foresee myself using it in my classroom for a long time as I become more proficient with it.
Amazing. And are you able to share some of the things that you've been doing in your classroom of late?
Yeah, sure. So I think the next couple of slides are some activities that I have been doing. So first of all, an option for a Smart Notebook is that you can set up a Smart Response, and basically that's a quiz. I like to do the quizzes at the beginning and in the completion of a unit of work or a concept or an idea. So this one here was just working on rainbow facts for my little year 2s. So you can set up basically any kind of quiz and get instant data and instant feedback to know exactly where your students are at. So I use that one regularly. I also love, you can integrate easily video clips, so you can do some explicit teaching of another avenue of learning for this in video form there. And then obviously the next step would then be to go away and work in their own groups. And I know Anita showed this same activity before, so the activities you can do them across the classroom. Way for you to grasp the I do, you do, we do model. And then again, here there's another spelling sort activity. So this would be a whole group or potentially in a pair, and they're sorting the words in terms of the ending sound or the ending letters in the words. And they just love it. They love having something that's interactive where they can stand up. They're not sitting at their desk. It's bright, it's colorful, and that activity there is essentially just reinforcing your teaching.
Can I add in there that often these are things we would make physically, and it takes away from us having to sit there printing, cutting, laminating.
Yeah, and it's quick. It's just quick and easy.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I mean, printing, laminating, cutting takes a really, really long time, but then you've also got to store it somewhere. You need to make sure you don't lose pieces. And these games, I would imagine, you can actually just share amongst yourselves. So you're not making duplicate copies. You're just of laminated pieces and playing pieces that you would need to do for 4 classes. You're actually just sharing them between that one game between the 3 of you. Is that right?
You can come back to it time and time again.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
And Kate, you use these tools for pre-testing a lot of the time?
Yeah, so basically you need to know where your students are at. So you can set up different quizzes to pre-test them to get that data, and then obviously that then redirects your learning going forwards.
Yeah, and also the students, so the students can see exactly where they are rather than doing an assessment on paper, having a teacher take it, mark it, and then bring it back to them later. The students know right away where they're at and what they need to do to progress.
And that's a great point. And that's, we're trying to give our students and help our students succeed, so they do need to know what they need to work on straight away, and giving them that instant feedback is a really powerful gift as a teacher to be able to give to them. So that's awesome. Thank you very much for sharing your classroom activities with us, Kate. Can I ask you, as a new teacher or newly graduated teacher and a new teacher to Smart, how has Smart influenced your teaching?
So I guess it's been an avenue for me to be able to meaningfully integrate technology in an authentic way into my classroom. It's engaging for my students. It's accessible anywhere. I can present a lesson or build a lesson in my classroom. I can do it at home. I can do it on a plane. And then with me coming in with little knowledge, as a beginning teacher, it's really helped me be able to streamline my practice, and it has made me a more efficient, flexible, and I guess engaging teacher.
Yeah, incredible. Thanks, Kate. What about, what would you like to see more from Smart?
Personally, for me, at the point in my journey where I'm at, I would love to be able to to go to more professional developments, to see people in action using the smart boards in new and innovative ways. And even if there was more, I don't know, webinars or face-to-face conferences available from Smart, just to show us, because I know it's a product that has such depth, and there's so much potential in there that I think I'm just scraping the top of the surface. There's so much more that can be done, and I'd love to know how to use it even more.
Absolutely, and it's having teachers like Anita, who's becoming Smart certified trainers and able to get out there and work with Smart directly, and having the team there at Sheldon becoming Smart exemplary educators is a fantastic start to be able to do that, because there is new features coming out every single day from Smart, because they are coming at it from a pedagogical point of view and trying to give teachers what they need and what they want in their classrooms. So that's an awesome point. I'd love to jump to Julianne. Now, Julianne's got a really unique story. Julianne, you've actually taught overseas with Smart, is that right?
So I did teach in America, but I wasn't lucky enough to have a Smart board in America. So my first time teaching with Smart was in Australia. But my journey has been a bit non-traditional, because I came in and learned a lot from my colleagues and just was inspired by them. And a lot of my learning was self-taught and just playing around with the software and learning how easy it was to build these lesson flows and these lesson plans, and also to make them really appealing and inspiring for the students.
Awesome. And whereabouts are you from, Julianne?
From Denver, Colorado.
Fantastic. Julianne, I would love to see some of your amazing lessons, because I have actually been lucky enough to see some of your incredible self-taught created lessons, and they were incredible. Would you mind sharing a few of them with us today?
Sure. So one is an attendance. When students would walk in the morning, it's just part of our daily routine, and they would walk in, click their name, and their raindrop falls to the ground. So it makes it really easy for me in the morning. I just look up and see whoever's left, and I know that they're absent today. Also, it changes based on the seasons and the things that we're doing in class. For example, we have an elf on the shelf who recently came into our classroom, and he took over our attendance and put his face on the background. So it changes, and to keep the students excited and just on their toes a bit when they walk into the room. This one is an example of a workflow that we did for HAS. Students were creating their own town. So we were discussing as a group, what does a town need? And we read the book, The Lorax. So the children, and here these are teacher notes in blue. So those are some ideas to guide the brainstorm, but this was a student-driven activity where the students were discussing what does the town need. So this was just a jumping off point for students to then be inspired for some authentic learning that was happening in the classroom. And they would then go onto the iPad and just brainstorm and share what buildings and features a town needs. So they would go in and share all of their ideas, build off of each other's, and be inspired by each other to then go and actually create this town.
Sorry, Beck, I won't waste time logging in at that point.
No, that's perfectly
okay?
fine. Yep, absolutely, not a drama. So, Julianne, from doing the role to doing a workflow to impromptu lessons that you're creating on the fly, how has what's the impact that the Smart Board and the Smart Learning Suite had on your day-to-day teaching?
Yeah, so I think that it has been an avenue for children to become co-creators of learning rather than just consumers of knowledge. So kids are working together, they're working with me. I'm not the only one making the slides. Kids are up there adding information, writing on the slides. They're creating this learning flow with my guidance, with the Smart Notebooks. So it's really allowed that authentic learning to happen and provided that guideline, but also given children the avenue to construct that knowledge with each other and with me.
Fantastic. Now, we are quickly running out of time, ladies. This has been an incredible, incredible afternoon with you. But I do have a couple of questions sent in from our listeners, if you don't mind answering a few of them. Is that all right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we've got Crystal in Melbourne. She's actually just asking, what's your favourite feature of the boards or the software? We might go all three of you on this one. Is that all right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Anita, what's your favourite?
I think the fact that there are so many game options, the gamification part of the smart technology software is so fun. So it makes every lesson exciting. The second I put up a monster quiz, every single student is quiet and excited and ready to go. And they're so engaged that the behaviour management isn't really a thing that comes up in the day often when it comes down to all the engaging activities we can set up on the spot. There's no need for a big setup because they're ready to go. It also allows for us to be able to differentiate between what the students need. So there's different game options at the time as well. So sometimes, especially if we use Smart Learning Suite online, I might have a few different games set up for the different levels almost of learning within the classroom.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and I'll build off of that. Using the Smart Learning Suite online, children can then access the workflows individually on their iPad. So a child can be doing that in rotations, or it just makes the learning so much more flexible in the classroom and differentiated, like Anita said.
So you're talking about the SLSO? Sorry, Kate.
Yes.
Julianne, were you talking about the online version of Smart Learning Suite? So you're actually doing flipped learning, where you're giving them the entire lesson and they're working through it at their own pace and at their own level?
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then coming back together and then taking that learning so much more farther than we could have otherwise.
Fantastic. And Kate, sorry I interrupted.
I'm going to take a different avenue. I really love the Smart Exchange. So it's a really fantastic way to share your practice and to see what other educators are doing and to brainstorm ideas. You can download people's workflows that they've already done and add to it, make it bigger and better. And I think it's just it's an awesome, great learning tool, and it really facilitates you to be creative and to improve your practice continually.
Awesome. It is a really great bank and it's actually being revamped so that it has a lot more tailored lessons to the Australian curriculum now, so you'll be able to go in and find the particular indicators that you're looking to implement in your classroom or teach in your classroom that term, and you'll be able to find direct units of work that have been created for that particular curriculum item. I've got another question here from Jess in Brisbane. She'd love to know your thoughts on the actual boards, talking about the digital whiteboard. So her question was, if we're looking at different boards, why would we go the smart board specifically? So we've heard a lot about the software and how awesome it is for the teaching and learning. What has the board done for you as teachers, and how has it helped you be really agile in the classroom?
From a technical perspective, I think that the fact that these particular boards, and Becky, you have to tell the audience the exact specs, but the fact that they're not attached to the wall, that they're height adjustable, that they're mobile in the classroom, again, adds to that level of dynamics that we can have around the space.
Yep.
Where historically smart boards were often attached to the wall with the projectors attached to them. So having that flexibility has changed the way we utilise the boards.
You also, it's not just, you don't just project your smart notebooks on there. There's a whiteboard option which you can scribble on. You can display your computer or Apple Play your laptop to the computer, so you can use it as a normal projector and also as a smart board and also as a whiteboard. And you can store all of your saved whiteboard files on there, which is fantastic, so you can save things and come back to it later. It's all obviously fully touch. You can have multiple students working on one thing at one time. So if you put a maths problem or whatever on the board, you can have 3 or 4 answers going at one time, which I think is really, really awesome.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
So
and the children.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Well, the children just love it. They just love working with it. They love writing on it. They just the excitement that the kids have when they're coming up to work with the board is just something that's really special too, I think.
And so it sounds like you've got lots of students up at the board doing different things, writing, raising, touching. Are they all doing different things at the same time?
Definitely. And it also takes away that need to calibrate. You know how often the boards just don't want to cooperate, and you've got to say, hold on a moment, got to calibrate. It doesn't happen with the smart boards. And the fact that we can go back and look at old work is very exciting for the students when they're like, oh yeah, that was last week. Now we know all these different things. So they can add to what they built on in the past.
Awesome. And the students know how to use the board. You don't have to do a lesson on that?
Oh, it's so easy. They often learn by themselves from coming in and playing in the morning or during lesson. And often I will say, okay, someone pop over to the board. Can you please change the screen from the whiteboard to the computer screen? And they know exactly what to do.
Awesome.
They're just such creatives. They just love it. They're in their element when they're using anything to do with technology.
Yeah.
And so, Kate, we've got a question from you, for Ben from Adelaide. You talked about doing the workflow for your unit from start to finish, week 1 to week 10. He's just wondering about time and what you would say to teachers who say, I don't have time to build that.
My response to that is that you'd be doing it anyway. You would be creating a workflow. You would be printing off worksheets. It's probably more time efficient. Once you get your head around how to use it, it eventually saves time. It does take time setting it up, but it wouldn't take you any more time than you're already doing.
And so I'm assuming that then you can share with your teaching partners as well, so they don't have to do the unit. They can do a different unit, and then you can use it again next year.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Awesome. And our last question was, I'm not sure if it was Julianne or Kate that mentioned doing the quiz twice. I think it was a maths example of doing the quiz at the start and doing the quiz at the end. What were the benefits of doing the quiz twice was the question.
The benefits of doing a quiz twice is that you get to see the distance travelled. So the students who perhaps didn't perform so well on the pre-test, you get to see their gains going forward. So seeing if what you're teaching and what they're learning is actually being effective, and if they are actually learning. And for those students who perhaps have got 100% on the first round, then a good practice is you would give them a harder one.
Excellent.
It's also Smart Response. You can download an Excel spreadsheet of the results.
Yeah.
So they can see their improvement as well.
Oh, okay. And so you would have those two Excel spreadsheets side by side, being able to identify where they were at the beginning and where they ended up, and who you need to continue to support and who you need to extend.
That's right.
Awesome. Ladies, thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure sharing the afternoon with you. It's been so insightful. Thank you for allowing us to come into your classrooms and experience how amazing it would be to be one of your students. I just want to say thank you on behalf of the SMART team for sharing this experience, and thanks everyone for listening. Hope you tune in next week for another exciting webinar. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.